Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Outdoors Hiking Bob podcast. You can find me on my website at hikingbob.com, which links to my social media, my other podcasts I've done, my past columns at the Colorado Springs Independent, my photography website, which visit that really soon. If you're looking for some gifts for the holiday season, there's still time to order and get stuff made and shipped to you. Everything's made to order, so everything done there. And also you can sign up for my email list. And also if you have comments, suggestions, thoughts, please hit the contact me link there on my website at hikingbob.com and let me know what you're thinking. Today we're continuing with our series on organizations that are part of the 2023 Give campaign here in the Pikes Peak region. And today I have Calla Balliett from the Rocky Mountain Field Institute, or as it's popularly known around here, RMFI. And a very popular and well-known group here, an organization in the Pikes Peak region. Calla, thanks for being on the podcast.
Thanks so much for having me today. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. So, Calla, I think a lot of people who listen to this podcast know about RMFI, but in case the people don't, or maybe need a little refresher, tell us what the Rocky Mountain Field Institute is and what you all do.
Absolutely. So the Rocky Mountain Field Institute is a nonprofit environmental organization based here in Colorado Springs. We are dedicated to the conservation and stewardship of public lands in southern Colorado. So RMFI works to protect and enhance the ecological health of our land and water resources by completing projects focused on watershed restoration, forest health, and creating sustainable outdoor recreation opportunities. So in a nutshell, that looks like building new trail, maintaining existing trail, and fixing issues that affect the resources within our parks, trails, and open spaces. So that means sometimes we're working off trail where there's issues causing problems with water resources like sedimentation into reservoirs, affecting water quality, post-fire restoration, to even restoration of wetland areas. So that's a vast amount of different projects that we do, but pretty much anything for the ecological health of our forest and our land is something that we do.
Great. So when we talk about, that's a lot of stuff you guys do, by the way. That's a whole bunch of stuff you guys do.
It is.
And I don't think you even mentioned, like, you do training. You train new trail crew members, right? Crew leaders and stuff like that to go out there and do that kind of work. So I'm a member, a graduate of your crew leader program.
Me too.
Yeah, and lots of people are, which is a great program because it gets more people out there working on trails. So give us an idea of maybe a trail or a park or something that you guys have done that people who are listening to this may say, I've been on that trail, or I've been in that park, or I've seen the crews working. Give us an idea of some of the places you guys have worked.
Yeah, absolutely. Most of the places you're going to see our crews on a consistent basis is going to be Garden of the Gods. We've been stewarding that area, I think, since I think it's been 2002-ish would be consistent as far as stewardship. So that's well over 20 years of consistent work in that park. And you'll find them there. I mean, the park's big, but you'll see them. You'll see them out there. We are always doing something in the spring and in the fall in Garden of the Gods. We are often as well found kind of in the late summer on Bar Trail. So a lot of those incline folks, sometimes we are a bit higher up than the incline return, but if you are heading up to Bar Camp, and you are going to be up there in the late summer, we're probably going to be out there. We do typically work and try to wrap stuff up before the Pikes Peak Ascent and Marathon. So that kind of help the runners out a little bit up there too. So kind of try to frame it around then. And so you'll see them up there, and it's always great when people stop by. What are we up to? The crews love to chit chat. They love when people say hi and are just kind of stoked on what we're doing.
Awesome. I have run into your crews most recently on the Pancake Rocks Trail. And it was just a couple of days before they were finishing that up. And what a nice job they were doing. And they had crew, I think you had like 3 different pockets of crews working up their way towards the end. And nice work they were doing up there with fixing. To be fair, it was a pretty decent trail to begin with, but there were a couple places where it had some steep declines and then climbing back out that obviously when you have that, not only is it a pain in the neck when you're hiking, you got to climb down and you got to climb back up, but also that creates erosion and stuff. So they're working around it, and really nice work there. So I just saw your crews in the last couple of months out there on a trail. What other trails have you guys worked on that we might be familiar with that people who are hiking besides Pancake Rocks, which I just kind of blew your thunder on that, but other trails that maybe people might be familiar with that you've been on?
Yeah, if you're familiar with the, Pikes Peak and all the trails that serve the Pikes Peak Massif, we are rerouting the entire Devil's Playground Trail. So that serves as the western approach to the summit of Pikes Peak. So that trail has been around for a long time, and unfortunately, just the lower 4 miles of that have just never been great. They're not awesome. So we are fully rerouting the trail. It's a multi-year project. It takes a lot of time to work up in that alpine. We're not quite way up in the alpine yet, but we're about 11,500 feet is where our work is at. So that is building all new tread and structures. That's hand-built timber steps, hand-built rock steps up there. So it just we have a short season. Obviously with Colorado, you're talking 11,000 plus feet of working. We can only do that in the summer. So we're pretty limited to, starting work in June and wrapping stuff up by, the end of August. So we can get them out there and they work really, really, really hard all summer. So we are chugging along on that. But when that comes to fruition, I can't wait for people to see it because it is fabulous. This looks so great.
And the part of that trail that's above tree line is really a mess. So it'll be nice for that to, I never thought the bottom part of that below tree line was all that bad, but the part above tree line was just a disaster with the amount of erosion and what have you up there. So it's nice that you're working on that trail. You've also done some work in a park I work at, which is over at Cheyenne Mountain State Park. You guys were part of the Dixon Trail construction up there, the upper parts of that, which is an awesome trail to be on. And if everybody hasn't done that, I encourage you to do so, but do it soon before when you have enough daylight hours to get it done.
Absolutely.
It's a 14-mile trek. It's a long day of
Once
hiking
it's
up
over
and back.
3,000 feet of gain, if you start at the bottom.
Oh yeah,
it's a long day.
it's a long day, but it's a beautiful hike, and the trail is really nicely done. And my favorite up there is the Dragon's Backbone, but it's not for the weak of heart or the acrophobic at all, because you're kind of on the edge up there.
Yes.
You guys have also done, correct me if I'm wrong, you've done, and this is kind of new over the last couple of years for you guys, but you've been doing forest fire restoration. Is that correct? You've been helping with forest fire restoration?
Yeah, I don't know if I'd really call it super new. We don't have, we've been around for over 40 years.
Right.
So there's a lot of work that's been done that we don't have, like the people that work for us anymore that did the physical work. But back in our logs, we did do some stuff with Heyman back in the day.
Oh, okay.
And we did most of like the stabilization work after Waldo. So a lot of those taking logs and building erosion barriers, check dams, and kind of stuff like that in the area to help with that erosion. You've got a burnt forest, you've got burnt soil. Obviously, we know what problems that cause with the flooding into Manitou and down the highway. So just some of that work, it's a large area, but we did some work in Waldo to that. And we have done some restoration work in Black Forest, similar work, and in Black Forest, a lot of replanting as well with ponderosa pine saplings.
And you guys were a big part of the project at the county's Black Forest Park after the fire, rerouting trails and planning. It's still nothing like it was prior to the fire, but there's work, stuff happening there, and there's stuff going on there. Unfortunately, that park was almost like ground zero for that fire, and it just pretty much did a job on it, unfortunately. But things are what they are.
It really did. We did continue some planting this past season. We had a small work day and we planted a little over 300 pine saplings out there this past year. And I would really recommend going out there in the summer. It is looking better. The saplings are growing. If you have a little extra water, throw it on some of the saplings. But there's some really great wildflowers coming out there as well. So it is coming back. We did also do the pineries that was partially touched by that fire and hand built that whole trail. That also, you've got that area where it isn't burned, but you go through the other section of the trail that is, and it is, it's stark. And if people haven't been out there, I highly recommend go do Pineries Loop, go check it out, see it. The wildflowers in the summer out there they're very beautiful.
And the elk population out there, if you haven't seen that, it's pretty impressive. There's
Oh, I
some,
have not run into an elk at the Pineries. That's a new one
yeah,
for me.
there was a herd of elk that lived out there, and I think they're still kind of in that area. Um, they've obviously been moved on a little bit since the park developed, but it's pretty neat. And that trail that you guys built around there, 9 miles of big loop trail all the way around there is a beautiful
Yeah.
trail, and it's I've hiked it. I know it's very popular with mountain bikers because it's a longer loop, so not a lot of hikers want to do a big 9 mile loop, but it is a nice trail and really well done. So you guys are out there really doing a lot of work out there. Um, you have any other
Yeah.
examples that you can maybe give me, some other stuff you've been working on people might be familiar with?
Yeah, I mean, pretty much any of our city parks that you recreate in every day, that we love, that are our backyard trails, our tried and true, our loop that we want to do every Tuesday. Those are the trails we've worked on. There's pretty minimal that we haven't done. We can go North Cheyenne Canyon, and we have helped restore or build a lot of the trail there, between Mount Muskoka, some of the reroutes with Columbine now going all the way up to the parking lot. We did that. And there's also, kind of bring it back down into town to Palmer Park. We've done continually over the years, just that park needs a lot of help. We've done a lot of what's called cobbling, just like trail hardening. We can keep that chunky feel of Palmer Park, kind of helping that out a little bit. We've done a lot of work in Ute Valley Park as well. We have done trails in Ute Valley, Ute Valley, just said that one. Austin Bluffs Open Space. And my goodness, I think we could probably just name something that we've done in every single park, obviously with the exception of like our neighborhood pocket parks and I meant, like our open spaces and stuff, Blodgett, all of those parks. RMFI has done something. We have brought our crews out there and contributed something pretty much to each and every one of our parks here locally. And then it's including El Paso County too. So you think Pineries, and we can go, State Park, Cheyenne Mountain State Park, pretty much every land manager that's in our area, we've done something for in their areas.
And Bar Trail being with the Forest Service too, so you've done some stuff there.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
On Bar Trail, I just had a question. Are you guys working on like the first 4 miles of that, or you guys go even further up that? The first 4 miles, everybody knows, is probably the toughest part of that whole thing. It's steep. There's a bazillion. Right. I don't know how many switchbacks there are. There's a bazillion switchbacks. I don't
ever want to count.
I'm probably overestimating that by only a million or so, but there's a whole bunch of switchbacks on that trail. Do you guys work on that first 4 miles, like from the bottom to like the experimental forest? Do you guys go even up further than that, or how much of that are you doing?
Yeah. Yeah, so we do usually in the spring, we're in that lower section that you're talking about, below the incline, in kind of in that roll, fun switchbacky area that we all love when we're going uphill. It's so great. But we do usually work there for a little bit. And then when we get into that later summer, kind of before the Ascent Marathon, we're typically up a little bit higher. So we've been working in the past couple years above the experimental forest. So kind of when you cross over French Creek, that area, we've been working above there, kind of working our way up. So we'll continue that work next year. It's a historic trail, and where it is where it lies. That is where Bar Trail will be. So we need to work within that confines of the trail and where it is now, and kind of help it just be a little bit better, give it some more stabilization, give it a little bit more structure here and there. Help with some drainage. So that'll be a project that we continue. I'm not sure how far up we are going to go, that it could be endless. That's in 14 miles. So we've got, there's a lot of trail, but for right now, we're kind of in that area that's above the experimental forest, and when you hit that road junction there.
And it seems like with the Bar Trail, it's really that first 4 miles that's really the biggest issue there because of the steepness and switchbacks and all that stuff we've talked about. Once you get above there, the trail is generally in pretty decent shape because the incline flattens out quite a bit and everything, so it's a little bit easier. I'm glad you mentioned Mount Muskoka and North Cheyenne Canyon, two places dear to my heart. When I was at the Friends group at North Cheyenne Canyon, I led up the Mount Muskoka project, and RMFI was a huge part of that. Getting that project done. And I know now you're over there at the Friends group, so you're still working there and doing stuff there. But that was a huge project, and that
huge.
first 3,000 basically we did 3,000 feet. We were rerouted, and quite a big project. And without your organization's expertise and manpower and ability to round up volunteers, help us round up volunteers for that, that project would have taken a whole lot longer than it did. And I think that
it's a tough work to work in.
Yeah, and for people who may not be familiar with it, we did that project a year or so after the Waldo Canyon fire. And for people who've been around here a little bit, right after that fire, we had a season of torrential downpours.
Oh yeah.
Many of our project days there, when you guys were working up there with us, we had to cut the days short because we'd have thunderstorms coming in at 2:00, and we were planning on working at 4 till 4, and we cut those days off. But if you go up there, and of course I'm worried about how that trail is going to hold up. If you go up there and see that Mount Muskoka trail from where it cuts off of Mount Cutler until you get to that little knoll up there, that's all new work, and that has held up really, really well with the years,
especially for where it's at.
And on inhospitable terrain for trail work, which is that crumbly, grindy Pikes Peak granite. I mean, to give what I'm doing is just trying to give people an idea of the work you guys do and how well that's held up. I remember working on that trail, having rain and going back up there going, oh, this is going to be a disaster. It's going to be washed out, and going up there going, well, heck, this looks pretty good. This is not too bad a shape, and it's still held up really well.
And that's what we want. When you put all of that effort into building trail, you want to be able to go back there after it's rained and you see, you're like, oh, it worked. The drains worked. Our structures worked. Everything's holding up. The actual bench of the trail still looks good and it's intact. Like, we want to see that. Especially with areas like North Cheyenne Canyon with that decomposed granite, you're always going to get a little bit of that sloughing off. You get that bench that gets a little bit filled up. It's kind of that trail trying to, wow, it's more narrow than it was the last time. That'll be a continued effort within North Cheyenne Canyon with how you cut the park. It's how it is. And it's the surfing marbles that we know and love when we ride our bikes down there. But with those projects, that's what we want to see. And that is kind of what we want to do, the sustainable outdoor recreation opportunities. We want to be able to build trails, or if something's already built and we're going back and we're maintaining or adding structures or adding things to help with drainage, to help with the structure of the trail, we want it to be able to withstand those things. And that's something we really saw this summer, with the heavy rains that we had this year, was a lot of erosion, a lot of degradation of our trails. And gosh, obviously we can't get to everything. And, neither can our, all of our park staff. And, there's only so many people. So there's still a lot to be done. But a lot of that work this fall kind of went around there. We did some work up in the Red Mountain area, Red Mountain Trail, intimate area of Manitou, where there was a huge slide that happened with that rain. So a lot of that work, even this fall, right around that erosion. Just got to have it be able to withstand some of those rains. And sometimes things happen and you're like, wow, rain is powerful.
The Pikes Peak granite is a curse upon this region. It is such crumbly stuff and so hard to. Anybody who's been on the Mid-Columbine Trail in North Cheyenne Canyon, when you get past that bridge and you start to get up there and you're in like 2 feet of scree that no matter what you do and how many times you shovel that out, you go back a week later and just filled up again. It's just the nature that rotten, I hate to say it, but it's terrible. And it's sharp pebbles too. Anybody who's taken biffed off a bike or slipped on that stuff knows how sharp that stuff is. You come away looking like road rash. And
it really gets you. I've taken a couple spills running on our trail and some spills on my bike in North Cheyenne Canyon. And they those little scars will stick around for a while. They're sharp. They'll get you.
And it does a job on your hiking boots. It tears up my hiking boots. They don't last very long hiking around this stuff. So, and what I'm getting at is that's the challenge you guys deal with. And you do a great job with it. Like I said, if anybody's hiked the Mount Muskoka Trail, that trail has held up for, what's it been now? 8 years since we built that trail. I think going back about 8 years, and has required minimal amount of maintenance, because it just, you guys do a great job getting that stuff done. When I was doing that trail, I said, I don't want to do this twice. I want to do this trail once and be done with it, other than, obviously taking care of little issues. But I didn't want to have to go back and build it again. And that is exactly how that's worked out. So it's actually worked out pretty well. Let's get over to the Give campaign, because obviously that's what we want to talk about here today. The Give campaign's going on. Tell people what you plan to accomplish in the coming year that can happen with their support during the campaign.
Yeah, so with the Give campaign, we this year have matching grants of $30,350. So matching that gives us double. That's a huge impact for a local nonprofit. So, according to the Colorado Outdoor Recreation Industry Office, there are 22 million acres of public lands in the state. That's a lot of natural places to care for, from trail maintenance and protection, restoration, water resources, wildlife habitat, and more. So what RMFI hopes to accomplish is pretty much just that, the continued care of our natural places in our backyard that we know and love, that we recreate in every day. We want to be able to continue to bring RMFI staff to those projects that need help, or new ones that are, let's put a trail in, let's do Mount Muskoka, to be able to bring our trails and be able to say yes to projects like that, to say yes to bringing volunteers to projects that need that, and to be able to bring that extra funding where that's needed. It's extremely integral to being able to have those boots on the ground that are out there doing that work every single day.
So while, obviously the purpose of the Give campaign is for people to monetarily support your organization, nothing happens, as we know, without money. I'm guessing every dollar that anybody can give is going to be beneficial to you guys.
Oh, absolutely. There's no amount that's too small. We're not, we're a small nonprofit. We're in Colorado Springs. They're pretty much a $10 donation is still, it warms our heart to be able to see your name pop across the screen with the Give campaign. We're like, like a lot of us do know you in the community, or know our donors as community members. And it's really touching to be able to see that and say, hey, we support you. We believe in what you're doing and we want to be a part of it. And, obviously with monetary support is other things. There's other ways to support RMFI besides, giving monetarily.
Yeah. So let's talk about that a little bit. You guys have a pretty robust volunteer program for people who say, I'll write you a check, but I also want to go out there and get dirty and do stuff. What else can people do to support you guys?
Yeah, obviously volunteering is a big thing with RMFI. We were started as mostly volunteers for many, many years until we built up to the robust staff that we are today. But over 4 decades of RMFI being around, we've involved over 33,000 volunteers. That's a lot of people.
Wow.
And we are so happy for each and every one of them. That's 33,000 people that have come out, picked up a tool, they've gotten a little dirty, and they've gave back with us to our lands. When you come out and you give back to that trail that you've personally worked on, it's a new level of appreciation for our parks and our trails. Every time I ride over a section of trail that I've worked on, and like, oh, it's like that little spark you just didn't know that you needed for the day. And I really recommend for people to come out and give it a try. Come bring a friend if you know someone who hasn't done trail work. Bring them with you next year in the 2024 season. Come pick up a tool. There's no pre-skills are required. We don't, we'll teach you to do everything. We provide everything for the day, all the tools, the project information. You just show up and have a fabulous fun day with us. And even if people haven't volunteered before, still grab a friend, come see us. And even some of the small things, give us a like on Instagram on something that you see in a trail that you love. Even when you, like you said earlier, when you see the crews out in the park, say hi, see, oh, how's your day going? That brightens their day. And that's still supporting RMFI. That gives us, that star for the day of like, woohoo, awesome community members. That's always a great thing to experience. And I say that's support as well. It's, when you can bring a whole group of people out to volunteer and see the park, and even people that have never been there. Like there's folks that have come and volunteer. They're just like, oh yeah, like I just ended up here with a work day and they've never been to that park. It's really special for us to be able to bring people out and help them experience something new.
You don't get, let me rephrase that. The amount of appreciation you get when you're on a trail for what it takes to be on that trail changes after you've moved dirt on a trail. When you've moved dirt, picked up, when we did the Mount Muskoka Trail, we were hauling 6x6 timbers a quarter of a mile on our shoulders, and Boy, you really appreciate what it takes to put, I don't know how many steps we put in, 80 some odd steps along that 3,000 feet of trail because it's so steep. You don't
Yeah.
appreciate what that takes until you've hauled that stuff up there. And I'm not saying this to scare anybody away. It's hard work, but when you've done that and you get a critical eye um, for a good trail versus a bad trail, and you really begin to understand what makes a decent trail that holds up and why that one trail you hate because it's crumbly and it's steep and it's eroded and why they're like that. I think you get a better appreciation of what it's like. Even if you're not volunteering, even when you're just out there with the crews, you run across a
Yeah.
crew while they're working and you see and you stop and ask them questions. I mean, I never want to take up too much of the time. They have work to do, but I've stopped and asked them questions and they're always so willing to just say, yeah, here's what we're doing here and this is what this does. This is what this erosion control device does, and this is what rerouting this trail accomplishes. You get a better feel for why things are the way they are when you run into one of your crews out there, or you volunteer to work with one of your crews out there.
It really does make exactly that. You just have this new light on our trails, and you talking about the timbers. Oh my goodness! If anyone does really want to join for quite a day, some of our projects do require us carrying 6x8 timbers.
I don't think there's anything heavier on earth than one of those timbers.
I don't think so. It just gets heavier the more that you carry it. And Bar Trail, we mentioned Bar Trail. That's one of those projects. We've got to carry those timbers up, probably sometimes, up to like 3 miles up the trail. So and there's other projects where, we've done even things within the canyon and everything like that. I mean, they're not easy to get up there. You've got to hike them up a couple miles to get to the project site where you're putting those in. And it is a much different appreciation. It's really nice when you get to set it down and you get to install it in the trail, and then you don't have to take it back down with you.
Nobody wants to haul that stuff back down. You guys don't have a helicopter to do this stuff with? You have to haul it all up there? No, the answer to that question is no, they don't have a helicopter to haul that stuff up there. And a lot of these trails, you can't even haul them up there with ATVs. You have to put them on your shoulders and carry them. I know we did, and I'm going to take a little side note. I know we did the Mount Muskoka Trail. We arranged for some Army Rangers from Fort Carson.
Okay.
And oh my gosh, those guys were beasts with hauling stuff up
awesome.
there. It was amazing. There's like 4 of us carrying one up there, and we're huffing and puffing, and these guys are throwing one on their shoulder and just running up the trail. Like, I guess it must be nice to be young.
I always need a friend with timber carries, so I'm with you on that one, Bob. I'm not carrying it by myself.
I have pictures from that day and haul that stuff up there.
I love it.
Yeah, it was pretty amazing. So, with all that, do you guys have any events coming up or anything like that? People should get a chance to meet you guys or come out and say hi, and while they're there, write a check and maybe have a beer with you all or something like that?
Yeah, actually, we do have a fun event coming up on December 11th. It's going to be at the Meadows Park Community Center, and it's called the S'mores Off. So super fun.
Cool.
Come by, and a lot of the nonprofits that you know and love that make an impact every day in our area are going to be making s'mores. They're all going to be fun and different flavor s'mores. You'll have folks like RMFI will be there with Catamount Institute, Black Packers, Kids on Bikes, Mile High Youth Corps. Come out and have fun with us. It's a s'mores party. I think there's gonna be hot chocolate. Just kind of a fun thing, all ages, and that does support our Give campaign. I think we might have something else up our sleeve, but I don't have all the details worked out yet. So we'll just have to keep people on the hook, and you'll have to check back with us on that one.
That's what's called a tease, people. You're being teased here, but keep an eye on things. So along that thread, how can people stay in touch with you guys and be up to date on what you're all doing, including volunteer events and Give campaign stuff? How can people stay in touch with you guys?
Yeah, absolutely. Staying in touch with RMFI, we were always up to something. So there's always something going on during our field season. We have multiple crews working in multiple parks and locations. So the best place to get super up to date, you want to see all the pictures all the time, follow us on Instagram. There's always something on there posting about what we're doing, what we're up to, and then just kind of getting those big updates, the Give updates, the big picture of what we're up to. We do a monthly newsletter, and it comes out on the first first Thursday of each month. So we try not to be too naggy in that the email area, but once a month, hear from me, can see what's going on. But honestly, social media is kind of where a lot of that stuff lies, and you kind of get it real quick and see what we've been up to.
And while you're out there, if you see stuff, you run into their crews, take a picture of the crew, post it on there while you post your hike on your Facebook page. I love doing that when I see the crews out there and say, hey, give them a shout out. They found these folks out there slaving while I walked by with my dog and was eating a sandwich or something. And had a good time chatting with you guys. It is really, really fun to see your crews out there and all the volunteers, of course. And you guys support so many other organizations, like we mentioned, with the crew leader training that you offer that, along with the city and TOSC, and you guys go out there and you do these trainings to train people to go out and do that work for their organizations and their friends groups and stuff like that. It's not just you doing everything, it's you teaching other people how to do, which I think is really great. You're not so siloed that we're going to do this, we're going to tell other people how to do this. I think that is really one of the best things I love about RMFI is that we do that stuff.
We can't do it all. And having community members that want to foster that engagement with our spaces, that's the best part. I mentioned earlier, that's also why I'm connected with RMFI. I went through crew leader training, and gosh, I just fell in love with trail work. That's why I'm here today as an employee for RMFI, is through crew leader training. I think it's a really vital thing. It's going to happen again in 2024 in May. So anyone who's, wow, I love working on our trails, I love doing this, I want to learn a little bit more, I want to get some more technical skills, I want to be able to give back more often in a more technical way, come to crew leader training. It's a super fun weekend. You get to learn so much. And honestly, the folks that have gone through it, the things that I see them do each and every year for our trails and our parks, my goodness, we'd be at a loss if we didn't have these humans out there giving their time and volunteering their expertise, giving up their weekends to give back to our parks. We would be a much sadder place without them. They're fabulous.
And find out about that by subscribing to your newsletter.
Yes, it'll be coming out soon.
There you go. So tell us where people can find you, your website, social media, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, social media, we are on Instagram is at RMFI Colorado. And then a Facebook, obviously we're just under Rocky Mountain Field Institute. Mm-hmm. And our newsletter, all of those volunteer opportunities, we won't have anything until spring. So we're on a little bit of winter hiatus here with the actual boots on the ground work outside. That's all at rmfi.org. So rmfi.org. That's all going to be there. And as well, you can find other things like, wow, RMFI sounds awesome. What a cool place. We also have positions open. So we do have our 2024 field positions as trail crew technicians and trail crew leaders. If someone themselves are interested in that position, if they know someone who's interested in, like, wow, they've done trail work, they would love to be part of an organization like RMFI, send them our way, send them that position. And a position doesn't come available super often. In our leadership team, we do have a program manager position open. If you have a lot of leadership experience work, doesn't come around every day. So hopefully people take a look at that.
There you go, folks. They've got jobs and volunteer opportunities, doing so much great work out there. Calla, thank you for being on the podcast. Best of luck with the Give campaign. I know you guys are going to do great. You do great every year because your work is out there. People can see what you're doing. It's not a mystery to anybody who's on any of the trails, the work you guys do. So it's out there. So really appreciate you being on, and really best of luck. Good luck on the campaign, and I hope you achieve your goals, and most of all, get those matching funds.
Yes, thank you so much, Bob. Thanks for having me. Thanks for having RMFI on, be able to talk about what we do and kind of celebrate a little bit of everything that we give back every year, and as well being able to have a podcast like yours to be able to reach the community and be able to have this is super awesome. Thank you so much.
Oh, absolutely. My pleasure. And with that, everyone, give to RMFI on the Give campaign, give to other organizations on the Give campaign, give to everybody if you can, give something, and if you can, volunteer to help out. And with that, thank you for listening to the Outdoors with Hiking Bob podcast. That was perfect.
Woohoo.
Yeah, no, you nailed it. That was exactly what I wanted to, because for me, it's important for people to know what you guys are doing out there. I just did one the other day with Palmer I'm recording a couple next week with Catamount Institute and Friends of Monument Valley, and I want them to talk about what they're doing instead of just saying, give us money. It's like, tell us what you're doing out there, kind of a thing. So,
yeah. I think that's the biggest part is, being connected to what we do and feeling like that's important to coming back to that monetary donation. They have to feel that connection and that importance before that comes. So.
Yeah. Anybody can stick their hand out and ask for money, but if they feel connected to it, then they get it. And Catamount isn't. I always bring Catamount on. They're not in the great outdoors category, but obviously everything they do is all about outdoors and starting with kids. So it's like it makes sense to have them on. So I think I'm recording one for them on Friday. So I have a couple more coming. Awesome. So next couple of weeks will be all Give. Awesome. What's that?
Their camps are awesome. I'm like, so cool.
Yeah, I've been out there when they've had the camps going on, by their offices there, and it's been pretty fun watching them interact with the kids and stuff. It's a whole lot of fun. So, all right, Calla. Well, when this goes up, it'll go up on next Wednesday, so overnight, Wednesday morning, usually about 4 a.m. it goes up. I will send you a link, and of course, I will tag you on social media when it comes out, so you'll see it, and then feel free to share it. The advantage of these things, as you know, is that if somebody says, "Why am I giving?" and what do you guys do? You can just say, listen to the 20 minutes, 30 minutes of the podcast. There it is. Everything is right there.
No, it's perfect.
So
it'll make it on our newsletter for December. And
perfect.
I think, yeah. I mean, today is December 1st. So it's the first Thursday every month. So it'll be next week. So even if it was December 1st, I don't think I would have sent it out. I hate sending it on like the first day of the month.
Yeah.
But I think this will be fabulous. I really appreciate you having me on, and
sure.
I always love listening to the podcast and running into you when I do see you. So
great. Well, thanks a lot. We're running out of time here, so we got to go. But thank you so much, and I will let you know when it goes live.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't know if you ever put any like with your landing page with it, any pictures. I can give you a picture from like bar trail work this year. I know we talked about that a little bit. I
could send it to me. I could post it when I do my social media post, but I can't do it on